Hi everyone, welcome to our channel Veil. Welcome to our channel Vadi. Douglas Macgregor expresses gratitude for the immense support received encompassing time, effort, leadership, work, and financial contributions. The response has been deeply moving with assurances that contributions will be utilized effectively. Volunteer efforts are especially appreciated with recognition extended to those actively recruiting new members. Macgregor transitions to addressing current events in the Middle East and Ukraine. He refrains from delving into topics assumed to be common knowledge. Expressing regret, he highlights the unfortunate nature of resorting to force and indicates substantial evidence suggesting the president's decision to employ U.S. air and missile power in Iraq, Syria, and possibly Iran. He criticizes the notion of signaling seriousness through military action, cautioning against the likelihood of escalation to war. Uncertain about specific targets, he observes trajectory toward conflict. He laments the ongoing intensity of Israeli airstrikes in Gaza, resulting in civilian casualties, including numerous children. He shares reports indicating a distressing reality: over 14,000 orphan children residing in the Gaza Strip facing shortages of water, food, and medical assistance. Describing the situation as inhumane, reminiscent of the Second World War, he emphasizes the undesirability of such conditions in future conflicts. Despite efforts, there appears to be no imminent ceasefire. Speculation abounds regarding Israel's prime minister's intentions to engage with Hezbollah, potentially expanding the conflict. This escalation could exacerbate regional tensions. The possibility of bombing Iran raises concerns about the onset of war. He underscores the importance of securing borders and ending lawlessness for the well-being of the country. He points out the concerning influx of 9 million individuals into the country with limited background information, raising alarms about the presence of Hezbollah and other Islamist groups akin to ISIS. Past incidents indicate the flow of weaponry, including American arms, into Mexico, where drug cartels collaborate with international terrorist factions. There's a real risk that bombing Iran could prompt retaliatory actions within the United States, urging vigilance and readiness. Shifting to Ukraine, he notes the apparent disarray within the Ukrainian army and government. President Zelensky's attempt to remove the army chief of staff faced resistance, hinting at internal turmoil. Zelensky's security detail comprises special operators, primarily from the SAS and other foreign forces, indicating heightened security. Concerns for his safety. He observes the escalating frustration and tragedy within Ukraine, foreseeing challenges for its leadership's survival. The uncertain outcome leaves possibilities open, whether the leader departs, is ousted, or faces a grim fate. There are indications of Ukrainian generals contemplating independence to negotiate with advancing Russian forces, which are preparing for further operations across various fronts. He urges for a sober assessment in Washington to grasp the urgency of halting a war the U.S. has been contributed to and supported. He reflects on the unrealistic promises made to Ukraine and the grim reality of the situation. Despite the somber picture, he acknowledges ongoing tensions at the border. It's disheartening to witness the Texas National Guard and National Guard units from other states stepping in to safeguard our borders, while federal forces are restricted from doing so. There's a hope for change and unity to effectively secure the border, but it seems the administration is resistant, with few senators or congressmen taking significant action. Future discussions will delve into the WHO treaty and its implications, featuring interviews with opposing senators outlining their stances. Progress is being made, albeit with challenges ahead. Acknowledging the collective efforts, there's a recognition of the increasing need for action amidst worsening conditions. Emphasizing the importance of unity, organization, and collaboration, he stresses the role of informed and connected efforts in shaping the nation's future. Transitioning, he passes the floor back for updates on the evening's agenda. We're privileged to host a special guest today, Anna Mace, hailing from Orlando and Atlanta alumni of the University of Central Florida, a narrative she's captured in her book. With 15 years of experience of the IRS, she brings a wealth of insights. I'm Douglas Macgregor, CEO of Country Our Choice. Anna, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. As I perused your book, I was drawn to the experiences that led to your departure. Your accolades over the years reflect your exceptional expertise in financial matters, a cornerstone of the IRS. What pivotal events shaped your perspective and altered your approach to your work? Certainly. Well, as you highlighted in your notes and outlined in your book, the fundamental question arises, where does the money go? It became evident that the flow of funds didn't align with anticipated directions. This discrepancy is noteworthy. One striking point you raised is the staggering $79 billion net tax gap in unpaid employment taxes. Do we treat taxpayers differently based on their size and scale? Are large corporations, such as Fortune 500 companies, handled differently from small business owners? Once more, it appears that hardworking individuals, particularly those in small businesses, bear the brunt of this imbalance without adequate protection. One aspect you touched upon is the inner workings of the IRS bureaucracy, including employee behavior and managerial practices. Despite the presence of talented and well-intentioned individuals, the system often mirrors typical federal bureaucracies. Could you elaborate on this observation? You mentioned how individuals within such bureaucracies tend to be sustained, sheltered, and promoted, regardless of their actual contributions to society. Your exploration into the origins of this phenomenon, particularly tracing back to FDR in the Second World War, was quite insightful. Could you shed some light on that aspect? The issue of national debt, exacerbated by overspending and borrowing, poses a significant challenge for us. FDR's era holds significance in this regard. The individual who initially introduced the federal income tax did so with the notion of it being temporary, a sentiment echoed during the inception of Social Security. However, both measures evolved into permanent fixtures of our system. It's a trend. What starts as temporary often becomes permanent, especially if it benefits certain parties and generates revenue. Now, considering the IRS's mandate to secure additional revenues, the recent influx of thousands of armed agents into the bureaucracy raises concerns. How should Americans interpret this development? The deployment of tens of thousands of armed agents prompts reflection on its implications for citizens. It's crucial to ponder the implications of adding such a significant number of agents. Will this influx ultimately lead to positive outcomes, or will it exacerbate existing inequalities, particularly for those on the lower end of the spectrum? Will there be a concerted effort to address tax evasion among large corporations and high-income individuals? These questions highlight the potential for inherent unfairness and injustice in the system. In your book, you didn't delve extensively into alternative tax structures, but it's a critical discussion worth exploring. Is there a more efficient or equitable way to collect revenue beyond the current tax system, which seems to have grown organically over the years without a clear rationale? If you were put in charge of the IRS, how would you address these challenges? Given the call for reform and a change in our approach to taxation, what type of tax structure would you advocate for, considering your observations and insights? Perhaps you propose no changes at all. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on this matter. Many argue that the solution lies in breaking up larger corporations into smaller entities. This echoes the actions taken by Teddy Roosevelt, who tackled monopolies by breaking up Standard Oil. The dominance of companies like Amazon and Google raises concerns about monopolistic tendencies. Fragmenting these giant organizations into smaller units, as opposed to one massive entity, could potentially address some of these issues.